welcome back to my channel Because I'm Crafty. My name is Caitlin and it's time for another machine tour. These are my two industrial machines. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of history of these machines, how I got them, what I use them for, and what they do. So let's get started. Okay, so the first industrial machine I got is this one right here. This is a Singer 591 C200A. This machine came to me for free. I didn't purchase it. Someone was getting rid of it, and the previous owner used it for upholstery. So it's quite a heavy duty machine. It is a beast, and they were getting rid of it. They didn't use it anymore, and so I ended up with it. So this is a great machine. I've used it a lot actually for upholstery projects. Some garment sewing. It is a lot faster than my domestic machines. I do kind of prefer my domestic machines for garments. This machine is quite fast, and I do have control over it now. If you saw my previous videos talking about this machine, it had an old motor on it. Now we have a servo motor, and I can actually control the speed, so it's a lot easier for me to control now, and it's also a lot quieter. So if you don't know much about these machines, a regular straight stitch industrial machine does just that, just a straight stitch. It can go in reverse and do a back stitch, but that's it. Typically with industrial machines, they do one function only, and that's what they're good at. Whereas when you have domestic machines, they usually have different stitch options and things that you can use them for. But for industrial, one and one only. So this machine has a large foot pedal on the floor. It is attached to a big table here. This lifts backwards, so the oil pan is underneath. And we have our bobbin winder on the side here, which works off of the belt that's attached to the flywheel that's attached to the motor. So that's how all of that works. You do have to thread the bobbin winder separately in order to wind your bobbin. You can still use the machine while you do that, but I typically just make sure I have an extra bobbin on hand. It also has the thread tower here, so you can put two here, one to do your bobbin and one for your regular sewing. And then the bobbin is underneath the table. So it has a metal casing, similar to a domestic machine, just shaped a little bit differently. And for your industrial straight stitch machine, your needle will actually be facing a little bit differently. So on your domestic machine, you're going to put your hole kind of face on towards you at the front of the machine, whereas for an industrial, it's going to face the side. So when you put your thread through, your thread's going to go from up here, down through the machine, down, and back in this way. So that you want to make sure that you have lined up perfectly in order to make sure that it's stitching properly. And the other thing that's different about this machine specifically, and I don't have a whole lot of background knowledge on this part, or why this machine is like this. This is not traditional in that the needle moves up and down like this, but the needle moves like this. I'm not sure if it was modified to be like this or if this is just the model. I've never looked it up. I do have the manual, but I never really noticed that it actually had that movement until I had a mechanic look at it, and I was like, my feet don't fit properly from, you know, past machines that I've had to purchase feet for. They don't work on this one. The needles seem not quite right. So yeah, the needle actually moves with the material as it's sewing. So my other industrial feet that I own, I can't use because the needle comes down and hits the foot. So I am kind of, for right now, stuck with just a regular foot. I do have to use different needles for this machine, but other than that, that's basically all I can use for until I can find out where I can get special feet for this machine. Oh, and to lift the pedal, you have a knee push here. So when you're at the machine, you can use your knee, you kind of push it to the right, and it'll lift the foot. You also have a lever at the back, but you can use your knee, so it's a lot faster. And our stitch length dial is here with our reverse stitch. It has a little dial here. For industrial machines, they should have a window somewhere where you can kind of see the oil flowing. So on my machine, it's at the top. And then like I said in the beginning, you can lift it up and check the oil pan to make sure that you have enough. So this machine is extremely heavy. It's attached to the table legs are metal. So this is a very serious piece of equipment. Definitely use it for my bigger projects. But yeah, it's good to have. Totally not necessary at all. But if you're getting into heavier projects or you want to be faster with your garment sewing, you'll definitely see an upgrade in quality with an industrial machine, but you can totally get away with something very similar with your domestic. Okay, so now I'm going to transition over to the green beast. This is my Rimoldi cover stitch. So this machine came to me kind of randomly while I was searching Facebook Marketplace. And this machine was with somebody who was also trying to get rid of it. They were using this machine for skating costumes, dance costumes, so the inside has a lot of glitter that I haven't cleaned out yet. But I think I paid like $150 for this machine. Definitely worth way more than this. But again, they're getting rid of it. So I did have it quickly serviced. We cleaned up a little bit, but it's working really well. I don't typically use this machine a whole lot. At the time when I purchased this, I was really getting into lingerie making and I had an Etsy store. I was really trying to build that to be a full-time thing. Since then, it's not so much in my like immediate plans. So I just use this for making t-shirts or any stretch material that I want like a double needle hem. Then this is what I use. So this machine is a double needle, so 3-thread cover stitch. I typically use a stretch thread on the bottom and then just regular thread on the top. We have our flywheel on the side. Again, our petals on the bottom. This one does not have a knee pedal like the straight stitch. It has 2 pedals. So one to lift the foot, that, and one that makes it go. This machine is not on a servo motor. Correct. Had to double check that. It is not, so it is quite loud. I try to only run one of these machines at a time if I need to. It also has some tensioners on the front that I can adjust to put like an elastic through to make sure whatever I'm sewing has the same tension, as well as at the back it has a roller. I don't currently use these functions. Again, I'm sure when this was being used for skating and dance costumes that was really, really important, but what I've used it for so far, I haven't needed to do that. But something similar between both of these machines is I had a problem finding the correct needles for these machines. So once I had this one maintenance, I found I was using the wrong needles, and this one I didn't have any needles at all, but we found the correct one. So I'm going to share with you which ones those are. So for my Rimoldi, I have some Schmetz needles. These are a UY 121 GXS. That's basically the size of the needle. I think these are hundreds as well. And for my straight stitch, I was using the same needles we used in our machines at school. So I had to purchase my own needles and all that things in order to use the lab. And so I just continued using them on this machine thinking it was correct. And then when I had it serviced, he was like, this is not correct. With the needle making that movement, it's not making the right connection with the casing. It wasn't something I super noticed. I did have problems with the thread breaking a lot, but I thought it was something else. It turns out it was the needle. So I have a bunch of needles for like a regular straight stitch machine that I don't use. So the ones that are correct for this machine are a DP X5, and I usually use an 8012 or a 9014 or 116 if I'm using something like denim. But for regular industrial, it's usually a DBX1. This one's a DBX5. I think it says on here needle size, it says cat number 1901. I'm not entirely sure what that is exactly referring to. It might be a special Singer needle, but the ones that the mechanic gave me, DPX5, and then the size that I wanted. So I have a little range here in my kit, along with the other needles that I need for my domestic machine. So I keep them all together and just make sure I have a little bit on hand at all times. So yeah, that's the tour of my industrial machines. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. You can check out some of my recent videos that I've also filmed today about my domestic machines and some of the tools and accessories that I like to keep on hand for keeping things maintained and running well. I hope you have a fabulous week. See you later. Bye.